Flotsam. Is it worth a buy? Let's read the words of the developer. The floating garbage town survival game. Scavenge what precious garbage you can from the ocean's surface and grow your city while doing your best to survive in this colourful post-apocalyptic world. Now I know what some of yous are thinking. You're thinking, what there? And where the where's there? Which translated into English means, what's this crap and where's the Call of Duty PvP beta? I'll show you how far I got into the Call of Duty PvP beta before I lost the will to f***ing live and switched it off.
Hey man, I'm fucking finally. You fucking snake.
Yeah, man.
Just shut fucking mouth.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, that's as far as I got. What now? Anyway guys, I've been playing indie games all weekend and this is the first review out. This game comes out on the 26th. I did get an early access code off the developers, thank you very much. This is Flotsam, guys. And Flotsam is the kind of shite you see floating on the top of the ocean, you know, plastic, wood, used johnnies and things like that. Did you know, by the way, there is an island of plastic just floating around the ocean the size of my country? I mean, no one's ever seen it, obviously, except on TV. But I believe it. I believe it, guys. This game is a city builder on the ocean. You start off on a little tiny, just that thing there, and you're surrounded by shite. And so what you do, you have three little gadgies, that's people, and you tell them to just jump overboard and go and grab the shit. And they grab the shit and they bring it back to your little base, which isn't a base, it's just that thing there. And there's a few different types of shite in this game. There's plastic, there's wood, there's metal, and that's it, pretty much. And what you've got to do is you construct like walkways out of the plastic, and then using various other materials that you can craft later on, you build various little buildings on there. And what you have to understand, guys, is these people drink so much fucking water that you will never satisfy their thirst. It's ridiculous the amount of water these drink. They also need feeding with food, so you need to find a way of getting the water. Now, you might be floating on a shit ton of water, but it's all salty, horrible water. So what you have to do is build a little refinery that'll burn all the salt out. But it's so slow doing it that it hardly makes any water. So you build a couple of them, but then you run out of wood, and it's like, I've got no wood. How am I gonna light a fire? And it's like, well, there's wood on the water, but it's wet. I know, we'll build a rack. So you build a rack and you can dry the wood out, but it takes ages to dry. And then when it's dry, you take it to a workshop that you build, and you can chop it up into firewood and use the firewood to burn the salt out. So there you go, you've now got water coming in, but you're dying of starvation. Shit, what do we do? Well, that's easy. What you do is you make a little jetty, and then you build a little fishing boat, and then one of your guys goes out and gets some fish. You can see them in little shoals around, not many of them, but there's little shoals, and each shoal has 25 fish, and you might get 2 or 3 little shoals on the map that you can actually go out and fish. So there's your fish coming back, but they don't give you very many nutrients because they're not cooked, it's just raw. So what you have to do is you have to unlock other buildings that allow you to cook the fish so you get a bit more out of it. And it's the same with the water. You can unlock bigger buildings that will produce more water for you. You can also build these big kind of water carriers that absorb water very, very slowly over time. They don't give you a lot, and it does take a while, but if you build 5 or 6 of these, that will bring in a decent amount of water. And you're going to need all this food and water because your 3 little guys are only the beginning. You will get more guys. Now, how this game plays is each world that you can see here is a static map. You can't move around the map with your main base. You can just expand your base, but you can send out little boats to pick up stuff and to fish and to bring it all back to your base and try and keep the production going. But once you've kind of drained that area of resources, these will not respawn. But you do get on your very first map a sail that you can put on your base. And when you put the game map up, you can see it works a bit like FTL. And each area that you go to has different things going on. For example, some of the islands will have water where you can get maybe 20 or so water out of it. Some will have abandoned little towns where you can raid and get lots of wood and supplies and food and things like that. So you have to plan your way around the map, kind of like wondering what you need next. Others will have people that you can rescue to bolster your crew, but you've got to understand that when you get more crew, that's more mouths to feed and more water that you're going to need. You can even get a seagull that's like a pet seagull that does little errands for you and all that, but he needs feeding as well. So the whole game is a big kind of balancing act. You've got to balance between how many people you're going to have to actually how much food you can produce, but you need a lot of people to produce the food and the water. So and you've got to provide places for them to sleep as well. So it's very hard. I found it really hard. I've played it for about 10 hours or so, and I had to restart about 5 times until I finally cracked it and got it kind of sorted. And I started having really good fun going through the maps, but it all kind of ended so fast. And then I was just as I was starting to get into it and my base was expanding, I came to the end of the map and it said the end. If you go to the next stage, it will restart from the beginning of the map again. And sure enough, when I got to the end, I just teleported back to the beginning. I kept everything that I had so I could go through the map again, but there wasn't really any point to doing that after that. You can kind of do it in 4 or 5 hours once you know what you're doing, probably less than that, to be honest, which was very, very disappointing. The game is fun, don't get me wrong, I really had fun in the game, but for £25, there's not enough, guys. There's nowhere near enough for the money. Now, it is early access, there's more coming. So this is kind of one of them games where you're going to have to kind of have a look at the footage, decide if it's the kind of game that you're going to have fun with, and then either take the plunge at £25 or take my advice and I would wait. I would wait and see where this goes, see what else gets added to it, because it needs a hell of a lot more than what's in it to justify. It's way overpriced, if you ask me. Way overpriced. It's a fun game. It's got good potential. I've had a blast playing it, but I haven't had £25 worth of fun playing it, if you know what I'm saying. There's also bugs in this game, guys. I had instances where certain buildings would stop working. There was just nothing I could do to get them to do anything. The guys were just standing around with no jobs to do, but they wouldn't go in the building and make firewood. I tried to recycle the building, it wouldn't work. I had that happen twice to me. Really bad bugs, that, because it affected 3 buildings on one of the goes, or was it 2, but there were big buildings and it screwed my whole game up. So it needs fixing, guys. So there you go. It's a bittersweet review, this, guys. The game was fun, but it's not £25 worth of fun. No way. It needs a lot more content, and I think the price needs to come down just a bit.